First is awesome, and it's filled with opportunities that are very valuable, and you learn many new skills, so it's pretty sweet.
It's been an enjoyable, kind of eye-opening experience that I wouldn't trade.
It's like given me a lot of experience that most people wouldn't get until like late in their college career.
It's fun seeing the kids compete. It's fun seeing the kids interact with the other teams. Going down to the championships, you know, where you're interacting with kids from all over the world is something that, you know, without a program like this, you just never get an opportunity to do.
We got an awful lot done. We did a whole lot of outreach this year, and we ended up winning the Chairman's Award. And at the same time, we also built a really cool robot and really pushed our technical abilities there with our first arm ever, pretty much.
I think winning the Chairman's Award puts Team 1816 on another level, like, you know, a whole order of magnitude higher from where they've been. It's a big jump for a third to fourth year team to jump that way, but now there are expectations in the first community, you know, nationally, right on down to the local teams that we've had interactions with, the expectations being that we are a go-to team. Anything that's needed, any questions that might arise, all that kind of thing, you should be able to count on Team 1816 and they'll have some answers and they'll help us out. And that is a place that we've been from time to time, but always more by our choosing. Now it's going to be an expectation.
You know, the first year it was pretty much build the robot, see if we can get it running and on the field and actually be able to compete. Second year we started taking on a couple more functions like building a website. This year we're involved in several activities. We've got a CAD team, we've got an outreach marketing team, we've got people working on Chairman's Award, we've got 3 different build teams working on different aspects of the robot. Some of the new things we've added are an animation team. We've taken on the Minnesota regional website and done a number of regional activities. You know, we've gone from 2 teams in Minnesota 3 years ago to 54 teams this year. Growth of the team has sort of reflected that, and the responsibilities we've taken on have sort of paralleled that growth.
Well, the purpose of outreach is basically, it's kind of like robo-evangelism or STEM evangelism, in that trying to get into the mainstream culture and thinking the idea that, one, it's not only is it okay and tolerable to be smart, it's really kind of cool and useful, and 2, that applications of science, technology, engineering, and math can be rewarding, can be fun to watch, fun to engage in.
The one thing we discovered 2 years ago is that there was a real pent-up demand for a program like this, that there's kids in every single school that want to do this program.
This year there are 38 new first teams just in Minnesota, and that's really exciting, and there are a total of 54 teams in Minnesota right now. I think that's really cool for the whole program, and just a few years ago there were like 1 or 2 teams in Minnesota, so it's amazing to watch how FIRST has grown in Minnesota.
We're expecting next year to have probably another 20 teams added to that total. You know, it's interesting in the state of Minnesota, once somebody does it and, you know, people can observe what happens and how it happens, there's a greater comfort level with putting it together. We've also gotten broad sponsorship from corporations, and I think that will grow too. You know, once you find the big corporations getting involved in the act, smaller ones will get involved and provide funding for a lot of additional teams. We also have a lot to grow outstate. You know, we've got about 8 teams from outstate right now, and I think our biggest growth next year will be in teams from areas like St. Cloud and Windham, Brainerd, Pine City and Forest Lake, and some of those areas.
In First Lego League, it costs you $150 to join the team. That covers all the expenses for the entire season. Here we have a budget of $20,000 to $30,000 a year. It really causes us to go to corporations and earn from them the money and the support that they give us.
Well, the most obvious thing that the money goes to is parts for the robot, because the cost of the motors and transmissions and like the sheet metal and the metal tube and everything else really starts to add up pretty quickly. So it's good that we have corporate sponsors to help offset that. Then there are all sorts of other expenses, like administrative expenses for like we had to get name tags this year to like wear in the workshop, and so we had to spend some money on that, and lots of things here and there. Well, I think the most important reason for why sponsors should sponsor our first team is because first teams inspire students to study science and technology, and that's really important these days since there's been a drop-off in the number of students entering those areas.
Sponsors are going to have to be more conscious that how much of our focus will be on outreach and mentoring and helping with FLL and FTC and other activities like that, that the focus is much broader now than 3 years ago when the focus was, let's see if we can build a really cool robot and maybe do something in a competition. Now that's a neat little rallying point, but the circle just got much bigger. And I think the sponsors will be thrilled with the exposure they get by moving in this bigger, wider circle. But I also think that there's going to have to be more buy-in on their part to the greater purpose of FIRST maybe than there was in the past. That does open the door for sponsors that might not traditionally have supported robotics per se, but they may support the bigger mission, you know, the more global mission of FIRST.
The best part of the FIRST program for me is working with the kids and actually seeing them grow and develop and learn new skills, and also to push themselves. You know, one of the things that we always do is give the kids a challenge that's sort of a stretch for what they're capable of doing, and watch them grow into it. And that it's so much fun to watch kids actually step up to those challenges and actually accomplish them, and a lot of times go beyond.
The mentors are always like full of wisdom, and they know stuff, and they're all really smart, and they're good people to work with.
Love working with the students. That's my best favorite thing. Just sitting around talking or working on a project or traveling, whatever it is we're doing. I love working with the kids.
Another neat thing about having all the mentors involved with our teams is that they provide us with like all sorts of connections to the professional world. Like for example, last year the team captain did a May term project with the company that one of our mentors worked for, and he ended up getting a job there over the summer. So that was like a really cool experience for him. That wouldn't have been possible without FIRST.
I see FIRST as being, you know, first and foremost for the kids, for the students, to let them see that it isn't all egghead geeky people that do this programming and engineering and media technology type things, that they're really neat, fun people, and that these jobs aren't backroom hidden jobs, but can be right up front, right there where everybody can see what you're doing and appreciate what you're doing and celebrate that. So I think it's a great reinforcement for kids, maybe to follow their passions that they didn't realize could be so exciting and rewarding.